Hello, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Oh, look at that. So I didn't have to adjust my light setting, and look at how nice and bright it is. We'll see if it stays like that. I might need to hop up and adjust it. But here we go for some happy hips yoga on this fine day. Look at this. This is so delightful. What a nice sunshiny day. Can't argue that one at all, hey? Perfect. Well, if you need to grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, go ahead and do so. Get ready to join on in to our lovely class. Is that Doreen? Leaving comments. Good morning, Doreen. But here for a bit, then off to work. You know what? I'm just really proud that you fit it in before work. And I think that's really great. That is also what I do. So the half an hour class started mostly because I had a busy work day that I had to get off to. So that is what's going on. Yeah, right. So but today I didn't advertise it being a shorter class. I was trying to do Thursdays or Fridays shorter, but didn't advertise it, so we'll do a full length one, and I think it'll be great. So leave when you need to. Thank you always for your comments and for your messages. Keeps it all really quite wonderful and good. Who else do we got here? Eliza, good morning. Welcome back to our little class here, our little hips class today. If you missed it, so should be a good one. I was debating this morning. I was like, do I even want to come up to standing in this class? And I think the answer is no. So I think that's how we're gonna roll with that one. We will explore movement from being in a laying down or reclining position as well as seated. But don't worry, we'll still get some work happening. It'll still be really good. And we'll be able to go from there. Okay, let's turn the clock on so I don't do yoga for forever. And keep things going that way. So, starting to either sit down on your mat or lay down on your mat. We'll do laying down, seated, laying down. That will be kind of the agenda for this meeting, this class today. And so if you want to start laying down, it's always a great option. If you want to start seated, whatever works best for you, as long as you can you guess what's coming? Feel into the body. Can you start to notice how you're feeling? Maybe you roll those shoulders back and down, kind of correct your posture just a little bit. Have that slight tuck of the chin. So you're finding all of that length through the spine, sitting up nice and tall or laying nice and tall. Feeling that low back start to activate and just gently pressing outwards or in towards the mat. Letting it feel good and just noticing what feels awesome, what feels a little tight. Can you just start to become aware of what your body is trying to tell you? So it always gives us little cues, little sensations to try to communicate with us. That is its way of trying to do so. But are we in tune to be able to hear it? How we start to learn to listen and learn the language that our body is trying to speak to us in. So as weird as that sounds, that is what our yoga is all about, is just building that awareness. So as you start to scan through, just take note of how you're feeling. Maybe you're even brave enough to notice how are you doing mentally? You're starting to scan in through the mind and the brain and how things are going there. Starting to scan in on those emotion side of things. What attitude did you start your day off this morning with? And is that the attitude you want to have? Because you have the ability to choose how you react to your situations. But it all starts with your mindset. If you aren't setting your mindset from the get-go, then you are just reacting to all of the wonderful things around us, or maybe they're not so wonderful. Like sometimes life isn't great and we're really challenged. But if you're ready to tackle it, it's a whole different outcome possibly than if you're just reacting to it and so, oh no, you get surprised by it. So it all starts here, setting that mindset. Beautiful. Let's connect in with the breath as well. Starting to just notice the breath. Odds are you just altered it, and that's okay. That awareness of wanting to breathe a little deeper, of maybe even that should. Was that a should that you were holding on to, expecting the breath to look away? Sometimes it's fun just to notice it, especially if you're doing it live, like the first thing in the morning here. You might actually already be breathing a little bit deeper than you would be if you did, say, afternoon yoga or even evening yoga. Because your body might still have that diaphragmatic breath from when you're sleeping. And so just a couple of different options there. Noticing it, and then yes, let's start to lengthen it. So notice that those shoulders hunch up to your ears again. Can you roll them back and down, and just getting into that position of being able to relax and have that softness. And then start to feel the lungs, start to feel not just the top part, but start to move into the rib cage. Can you start to move the ribs in and out with your breath? And then as you're breathing, can you start to move into that abdomen, gently pressing the belly button out, pressing the sides and the low back area out. And then that inhale draws everything in and together, letting it feel really good. We'll take about 3 to 5 full breaths here. And so just working with your own pace, your own movement. Letting it feel good. Feel like the sunshine is super bright and I need to just adjust it. So as you're breathing, let's give that a shot. Beautiful. There we go. So feeling that sweet connection in with the breath, in with the body. And this is a great time to maybe set your mindset, or to set an intention for our time together for this class, or maybe for your day, your choice. Letting it be something true for you. Just simply an intent. What is your purpose for this class today? What are you hoping to get out of it? Maybe trying to decide, now that you've scanned the body, how hard do you actually want to work? Do you want to keep it really easy and gentle? Or do you want to push yourself that little bit extra? I'll try to provide all those modifications for you to really choose, starting to decide what you want to do. Beautiful. Let's take a moment and physically put a smile on your face. Take a little moment to smile at yourself, being just thankful for today. Let's take a nice big inhale breath, breathing it in. Exhale, maybe even sigh it out audibly. Beautiful. If you're in seated, let's roll back and down. I'll try to sneak some more coffee in later. I always like to start with my knees bent, my feet planted. That's just because, to be honest, my hips and my back adjust a lot when I lay down on a hard surface floor for the first time in the day. So I get all these little cracks and pops that happen. So if that's you too, that's okay. That's just air moving around and coming out of those little joints where the bone on bone, when a little air gets locked in there. And that's okay if it just kind of releases it out. Makes a little pop sound, like snap, crackle, pop Rice Krispies. So even here, let's roll those shoulders back and down. Just start to feel those shoulder blades just gently pressing in towards the ground. Let's take that nice big inhale breath. Taking a good morning stretch, reaching up overhead. Option to just use the arms. Really feeling that big reach. Ooh, that made a little yawn. That was fun. You can release the jaw too by actually taking a yawn. It feels really good, but reaching those hands up overhead. Finding that length all the way from the fingertips through the underarms to the rib cage. So big and long, and exhale, just let the arms hang heavy. Feeling really good. A little melting sensation in towards the mat. Take one more nice big inhale, reaching it up nice and tall if you want a little more. Maybe you start to extend the legs long if you haven't done so already. Really reaching, maybe pointing through the toes, finding all that wonderful length. Letting it feel really good, and exhale. Start to relax through the body. Maybe bring the arms alongside the body and bend through the knees, hugging the knees in towards the chest. And taking that gentle rock from side to side. Nice little massage on that low back, on that sacrum area. Maybe you still feel the pelvis pressing in. Pelvis is just it's your hip bones. So it's specifying that big bone area. That's where your spine connects into. That's where your leg bones, your femurs connect into. But funny thing, none of your bones actually touch each other. They're all just floating in your body, basically. There's connective tissue around them and all sorts of stuff. But it's really neat when you think about the fact that none of your bones touch. I don't know. I think that's really cool. I think that's wild. Like, how are we even standing? That's so cool. All right. Let's bring the hands to the back of the knees. Feet go up in the air. Nice little waterfall. Even if you're just hanging out here, that's a great option for this. So this is our nice gentle variation. And then the more you straighten, the more intensity you're building up. You can do this also without having your hands holding onto the back of the legs, really starting to activate into those hip flexors and even into those lower abdominals. So if you just want a gentle way to work on your core, just bring your feet up in the air like this, and you can take, 10 seconds not holding on to the knees, and then 5 seconds holding on. You can switch it around to give yourself a little break. You'll start to feel that nice and low. And lots of us, especially their lower abdominals, are extra weak. But it's so funny because our lower abdominals are what actually connect first into our legs and our movement that way. So as we start to strengthen and work with those, then we're actually increasing our stability in our movement. And so for things like walking, running, jogging, all of those things where you're just simply taking step after step, having a stronger lower core is what helps you be really stable and solid in that. So it's just kind of fun to see how it's all connected. Let's hang on here for just a few more seconds, letting it feel maybe really stretchy, maybe feel it on the hamstrings, maybe you're feeling really strong. As you keep the legs up, you can add a little flex to the foot, little point. Let's take 5 flexes and points. So here's 2, pointing up. Nice flex. And point for 3. Flex of the feet. 4th little point. Last one. Nice big flex. Really extend the heels. And nice big point. Really push the toes up. Beautiful. Let's bend the knees. Plant the feet, take that nice little windshield wiper from side to side. Excellent. So good. It feels so simple, but especially doing those right at the beginning of class, where nothing's overly warmed up yet. Like, that's a great way to start to warm up through the body. We're not taking a lot of movement, but our muscles are starting to engage, starting to feel really good. All right, let's bring those knees in. Feet go right back up. Option to hold on. Or if you want that little more challenge, you're starting to let go. And we're just going to take that little walk on the ceiling. Just starting to add a little wiggle in. I like to tuck my hands underneath my sits bones here, underneath my pelvis. It just pushes my low back in towards the ground. So you're welcome to try that out. See if that works well for you as well. But that little bit of extra alignment means now I'm getting into those hip flexors a little more because I'm finding some extra ease in this. So taking a nice little walk. Maybe you're just taking a little walk. Maybe you're just going around the block or exploring the backyard if you have a backyard. Or maybe you're taking a bigger walk and you're going down the street, maybe going to the store. Maybe not because it's COVID, stay home if you need to. Maybe you're just out walking the dog, how about that? Or a neighbor's dog, you're helping out. Beautiful. So your choice, big steps or little steps. Holding on here for 5 more seconds. So take a nice big inhale, big breath in. Exhale, engage, pull that belly button in towards the spine. Breathing it in, nice big inhale. And exhale, nice and strong. Really play around with that strength, that pulling everything together. Breathing it in and exhale nice and strong. Let's find our stillness. Just simply bend the knees, but don't plant the feet. And just kind of take that tick-tock from side to side. So if you want, bring your arms out a little bit farther. We'll give you some more room. Or you can even hold on to the knees here. So if those hip flexors need a little bit of a break, you can come into some nice knee circles. If you don't want to just go from side to side, we'll start to get into those obliques a little bit. But the goal was a little bit of side to side and then right into knee circles. But if you want to just start right into knee circles because that feels better, that's a great option. I'm just going to take 10, dropping my knees down towards one side and towards the other side. Beautiful. Here's 2, and then 3. If you want more challenge, you can start to straighten the legs a little more. So starting a little rotation on the hips. Make sure those shoulders are really pressing in. Beautiful. I don't know, I think this is 7. I was trying to count and talk. I don't think I did either well. So here's 8. And 9. Beautiful. And last one, dropping it down to one side, bringing it over to the other side. And then playing around with those knee circles, hands on the knees. Knees can go same direction, they can go opposite directions. Just playing around with a little movement, starting to wake up what's happening in the hips. You'll find those sweet spots. You'll notice those little areas of tension and of tightness. And they're different on everyone. Some people, as they pull the legs in, they find all of that tension. Some people it's more out to the sides. It all depends, A, on how that femur is shaped. There's kind of like a knobby bit. Well, I don't know the best way to describe that. But that typical bone shape, let's just kind of imagine that for a moment. That one little knobby bit, that's what we're going to call it. It's the only words that come in. It has a different shape on everyone, not just like size-wise, but even the entirety of the shape. I'll try to find the article that I was reading. It did some comparative anatomy of, I think, 12 different femurs, and they are so radically different that really kind of helped change my perspective. If you're going one way, switch and go the other way. And it really helped change my perspective of my own expectation of what my yoga looked like, but also how I cue for people to have a certain shape in their yoga. I really let go of a lot of expectation that people even be able to completely square the hips forward, or in a warrior 2 to really be able to find that north and south openness with ease. Some people would really struggle if you've got one of those big little knobbies. You'll probably really struggle with external rotation. And then also for how that bone enters into the hip socket is really quite fascinating, because that's even different too. So much variety. How cool. All right, hips are nice and gently warmed up and ready for some more movement. I'm really imagining you're all cheering. Yeah, woo. Beautiful. Let's bring the knees just hanging out over the hips. Feet can be relaxed, or you can work on holding that 90 degrees. Let's bring those arms up overhead. Reaching up nice and tall. Have palms facing each other and thumbs pointing down. Beautiful. We'll find that length. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, pull that belly button in. Notice how you can hang out and you can have a huge arch in the back, or you can pull that belly button in and tuck that pelvis under. Just a way to help protect and stabilize all those abdominal muscles, keep that nice alignment. Beautiful. Let's take that exhale and start to just reach for the knees, bring the head and the shoulders up. Roll things back down, reaching up, finding some length. We're just going to take 10 of these, so however you want to take them. You can just do arms, but I do encourage you to try to at least get a little bit of the head up and just start to engage some of those upper abdominals. And so lots of times in these hip classes, I focus tons on the lower abdominals, but these upper guys and these middle guys are important too. If you want to be getting a little more out of this, you can start to maybe reach for the calf, reaching inside of the legs, or reaching for the ankles, really coming up a little bit higher. Your choice. I think we just have 3 or 4 left. So moving through, there's 2. Excellent. Let's take 1 more just for funsies. Roll it back down, hug those knees into the chest. Take a little rock from side to side. Beautiful. And just so that we can compare things now versus after class. Either holding on to the back of the knees, drawing the knees in towards the body, bringing the feet up for your happy baby, or reaching through the knees for the feet, the ankles, really whatever you want to hold on to. That'll draw the knees in towards the body, feet go up towards the ceiling. You take a little rock from side to side, see if you're noticing any tension anywhere. Oftentimes when I do this at the end of class, we're feeling nice and open, but this is actually a wonderful hip opener. Really gentle working on the body. Notice do your knees really flare out to the side, or are they tucked right into the underarms? That'll just help you notice whether you're externally rotated or internally rotated, or just even neutral. You don't have to be one or the other. Beautiful. From here, we're gonna roll up to seated. Option just to roll onto your side and push yourself up, or to release your knees and rock and roll up. I'm going to try to hold onto my feet. We'll get a little momentum going. Nice little massage on the spine. And then rolling all the way up into seated. Because I think it's fun. And I like to have fun. Beautiful. Option to sit on a pillow, a block, a cushion, anything that you need. Make sure you can sense into those sits bones though, so sitting up nice and tall and strong. Taking a little sip of coffee or whatever you got going on. Just relax, roll those shoulders back and down. Start to notice that collarbone. Is there lots of tension there? Are you struggling to find openness? I definitely am this morning. So let's take a nice big inhale. Let's lift through the heart, lifting it up, maybe even the head. You look up towards the ceiling. You can do this with your eyes closed though. Maybe you tip your head back. Start to feel like you're pulling a string out from the heart center, really lifting it up like that beam of light shooting out. Take that exhale. Start to round through the spine. And if you have your hands on your knees, that's a great option to kind of add a little resistance in. And feel really good. Take that inhale breath. Start to look up. Scoop the heart up. Start to roll those shoulders back. Really lifting here. And you can be pulling on the knees here. Adding that nice resistance in. Feels so good. This is our seated cat-cow. So rolling through. Just finding some movement on the spine. So oftentimes I do this by sweeping the arms up and down. But odds are you're not really noticing how the spine is moving. So I wanted to take a little opportunity to move through a few. So inhales will look you up. Exhales will round you in. And just a few more. Beautiful. Come back towards neutral. Let's just roll the shoulders back. Just imagine you're doing a little backstroke. You can do one shoulder up at a time. You can do both together. But I like the one-on-one. Feels like I'm giving it a little more attention individually. Excellent. Sitting nice and tall. So now let's inhale. Let's sweep those arms up and take maybe that little back bend. Noticing if you have a little bit more mobility, a little more movement. Exhales. Bring the hands down. We're just going to take 3 of these. Just trying to warm up just a touch more into the shoulders. Reaching it up. Exhale. Hands to heart. And twist towards the left. Starting just to rotate real nice and easy. Just a nice gentle twist here. Let's inhale and lengthen. Exhale if you want. You can plant your hands down and twist a little deeper. Not going too crazy though. I'm just feeling that nice rotation through the spine. Still trying to keep the spine stacked nicely though. So not leaning forward or back. Beautiful. Let's release. Coming back to center. Hands at heart center. And starting to twist towards the other way, towards the right. There we go. Taking a moment just holding here. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale. Maybe you twist a little deeper. And drop those hands down to press in. With you pressing your hands down, odds are now you can even just rotate through the shoulders a little more. And bring the neck along with you if you want to gaze towards the back. You can keep moving the hands back to deepen the twist. Letting it feel so good. Let's exhale. Back towards center. Let's switch the feet, opposite foot on top or in front. Sitting nice and tall. Let's inhale. Just reach the arms up and reach for opposite elbows. Trying not to really shoot the neck forward at all. So if you notice that you're really kind of crunching down on your head, you can even just kind of reach for opposite wrists, coming a little bit more into those boss arms. That actually feels better for me today, so that's what I'm going to go with. Then inhale and lengthen, get nice and tall. Exhale, pull the belly button in, nice and strong through the core. Let's just tip on over towards the left. This keeps nice openness through the shoulders. It's a little bit easier than keeping the arms extended, so it's a great variation. Beautiful. Let's come on back up. Nice little side bend, just getting into the side muscles of the body through those obliques, through a little bit in towards the back. Keep lengthening through the head. Keep trying to spin that top shoulder open. Beautiful. Let's come on back up. So good. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring the hands down. Beautiful. Bring the hands just behind you. Let's start to extend the legs, but just planting the feet down. So let me come at a little bit of an angle here. So not rolling shoulders forward, roll them back and down. Bringing knees to touch, planting through the feet. Just find all of that length. Really press into the hands, lengthen through the spine, getting so nice and tall. Ears are so far away from the shoulders. Feels really good. Excellent. And then let's work on just lifting one foot up and bring it back down. Getting towards the other side. So we'll just take a few of these here. You can just simply be lifting the foot up, or you can start lifting and extending nice and long. Bring a bend back to that knee and plant it in. So keep extending that head nice and tall and long. Excellent. And then from here, we're going to lift the foot up and bring the foot out towards the side and bring it back in. So just kind of opening up through the knee, letting the knee fall over and finding maybe a little bit of that extension. Beautiful. This is my variation to all fours, but still starting to work in through the hip and finding some of that openness. Because sometimes all fours is hard on the knees, and you need a little modification from that. Beautiful. Excellent. And then from here, let's extend long. Bring the foot all the way down and bring the toes inward. So the whole point of bringing the toes inward is that internal rotation in at the hip. But we're doing so with protecting the knee. So as the toes fall inward, it's everything from the shin to the femur that's rotating all together. The knee is not taking any impact. The ankle is not taking any impact. As you move the foot, take a couple of these little pulses. The whole leg is moving. Beautiful. Let's take one or two more. Just kind of rocking it in and back to neutral. Beautiful. Let's switch. Other leg extends nice and long. And start to just let those feet fall inward, but rotating all the way up to that hip. I'm really terrible at inward rotation. I'm still trying to decide if it's just really tight hamstrings, but I think that's just how My femur is built, especially on my right side. It's actually like a bogey, like it's a hard stop. So I get to a certain point, I'm like, nope, it's not moving another inch, not moving another millimeter. It's just where it is. Excellent. Beautiful. Not an official yoga pose, but it's a great way to work with the hips. Excellent. Beautiful. Let's bring those feet back up, our knees back up, and start to let the knees fall open, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can walk your hands back up so you're seated, shoulders over hips, and either holding on to the knees or reaching for the ankles. Find that length through the spine. You can simply hang out here. Or if you want, you can start to add a little bow forward. That'll really start to pull on those inner thighs. Getting a little deeper. Extending through. You can actively press the knees down, or if you have lots of space between the ground of the knees, maybe you want a little pillow or a little bolster or a little cushion or a rolled up blanket to support the knees. If it's just all tightness that's restricting you from finding that openness. Beautiful. Feeling that nice connection in. I'm gonna just spin around, facing the camera, hit my phone on silent. Excellent. So if you're in a nice forward fold, start to walk yourself back up. Coming up to a nice seated. Doreen, are you off? All right. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining in for the first half. Excellent. So from here, let's extend the left leg nice and long and kind of out off to the side. You can adjust yourself. If you really like that ankle to be on your mat, you can go ahead and adjust and find that angle. Foot can be anywhere from straight out in front of you. That'll be a little more gentle variation, or opening things up. That'll require you to twist a little bit more. Your choice, and you can always adjust midway through. So just starting out by trying to find that left sits bone planting in towards the ground. Find that nice extension. Start to play around with hand placement. Try changing it. See if you can still keep that. Odds are lots of people just hold on to their leg and like that's their brace. But if you can start to release that and settle in, start to create a little bit of softness. I'm feeling lots of pull through my inner thigh here today. Maybe that's just some serious tightness that I have going on. But it is a stretch for the abductors and adductors. Maybe you're feeling it just a touch over the knee. If that's the case, you can have a little bend into the knee, or even just imagine a lifting of the kneecap. Maybe that's enough there. So inhale, lengthen nice and tall. Exhale, pull the core in, nicely engage. Let's inhale, reach those arms up, reaching up nice and tall, finding all of that leg, pressing the legs down to help stabilize. Keep that left foot nice and active, toes pointing up. And on that exhale, let's rotate, twisting the shoulders to be in line with that foot. So wherever that foot is at, that determines your rotation. So maybe you just hang out here, you can drop the arms down onto the leg. Or we can add a little hinge at the hip. So we'll start to pull more of that hamstring line of that left leg as you start to hinge down, maybe just nice and slowly walk the hands a little bit further. We'll be here for about 10 to 12 breaths. We're working with some really big muscles here, so we actually need to give them some time to settle in, to lengthen, to get a little deeper. And so no worries if you're starting out really high up. There's no expectation that you touch your foot. There's no expectation that you bring your head down to your knee. None of that. It's all about what actually feels good for your body, especially as you add that nice little rotation in. I like to bring my right hand just to the outside of my leg. That helps me kind of keep the twist happening. And keeps my shoulders kind of aligned forward. And just make sure those shoulders aren't floating up next to the ear. So if you want, you can keep a little flex to the foot to start to maybe add some intensity in that way, so you can play around with where's neutral and then bringing the feet in a little bit more. That's also really nice and healthy for your ankle. Bringing in a little mobility there. You can do the full like point to flex. If you just want to see how that pulls on different muscles throughout the leg. And taking your time to just slowly deepen into it. And so if you are really quite flexible in this area, don't ever want to assume that you are or you are not, that is where I'll block. If you have no issues like reaching for your foot here, your block or a book, it would be really helpful in just placing it at the end of your foot, keeping that nice big posture. And then instead of reaching for the toes, you can reach for the block and pull the block in towards the foot. So, however, I can't quite do that with my other arm of reaching of the block, but if that works for you, that is your option to help deepen as you find some length through those hamstrings, through those glutes. I guess there is that other option. It's all about melting the heart down. So if you're all worried about getting your head down towards your knee, you're compromising in your back and you're actually losing some of the integrity of the posture. But if that feels really good on like your shoulders, if you've got tight shoulders and you need to have that little hunch, then I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm just going to tell you that the goal is to try to do it with a flat back and to lengthen all the way and strengthen through those postural muscles. So if you're all about getting that head down though, I don't have it today. I've got a really kind of tight back area, but you can bring a block onto the leg. You can bring a couple of block, maybe a block and then stacked fists to have that little forehead connecting in with something. Beautiful. So we're on our last breath or two in this pose. Start to feel that nice connection. Take a deep inhale breath. See if you can start to lengthen. And on that exhale, see if you can soften. Are you holding unnecessary tension? Can you start to let it go? Beautiful. Let's bring that left hand to the inside of the leg. So whether you're by your ankle, by your knee, or by your other foot, it's totally your choice. Bring hand towards hand. And then let's start to open up that right arm, reaching up, kind of undoing the twist. It adds in a little bit more of a side bend as you reach that right hand up in the air. Start to feel that all the way from the hip. Still keep that left foot nice and active. Your choice to just simply reach up. You can bring just the hand in and reach with the elbow, or you can start to reach that hand overhead. Maybe you can even reach for your toes here. That might be something where you've got lots of openness in your side body, or you have really long arms. My little T-Rex arms aren't going to get there today. That's okay. And keep trying to roll that right shoulder open. Keep finding all of that length. Yes, we're working hard here. You can add that little pulse in too, should you want a little bit of movement here. Sometimes the stillness isn't quite what your body needs, and you need that movement. So good. We'll take one more breath here. Nice big inhale and lengthen. Exhale. See if you can soften or engage a little further. Beautiful. Let's come all the way back up. Sitting up nice and tall. Excellent. I feel like my one side of the body is so much different than my other side of the body. How neat. I think that's cool. Cool. All right, so let's bring that right knee, that bent leg, start to bring it up, planting the foot down, and we're gonna work with our half hero. And so your full hero pose is on both legs down and a huge quad stretch, but let's just work with half today. So I'm starting to let that knee fall inward, and I'm just starting to bring that ankle in close towards the sits bones. So it's very similar to our deer pose that we get into. And so our full half hero is really bringing that foot really nice and close. Let me just demonstrate here. I actually press myself up and sit on my foot. I like to do it with a little bit of height. Option for the forward fold if you want to keep working that hamstring. But if you want that quad stretch, you're starting to bring the hands back, working on that openness. And so the half is just with one leg bent. So your option to sit off of the foot, just be mindful of that knee. There's a little more rotation that happens there. Or even if you've got a block, even if you like sitting on a block here is a great option for playing around with that. Really, even if you just want to hang out here with that leg a little bit more open, maybe even come down onto that elbow. That just kind of helps respect the leg. You can just totally hang out here. Really, I just wanted to add in a little bit of a quad stretch. Someone a few weeks ago in real life that I was seeing was like, oh yeah, I wanted to work on hero pose. So here's some of my build up for that. Your little half hero. Just finding that nice little hangout. Beautiful. We're not going to hang out here too long. I am finding some decent openness here though, so that's cool. I'm going to just journey on back a little bit farther. Enjoy a nice little sunshine on my face. Excellent. Let's come up nice and safely. Pressing on up. Maybe even rolling onto that left side. Extending the leg. Giving those knees a nice little bounce. That's what you like to do. Let me just readjust back towards neutral. Excellent. All right, let's work on coming in towards the other side. So right leg comes off towards the right. Left foot starts to come in. I'm playing around with those sits bones, trying to find that nice position and posture. Working your way through. Starting to really activate through those right toes. Nice and strong through the leg. Let's inhale and sweep those arms up nice and tall. Really reaching, finding all of that wonderful length through the spine. Keep that chin nice and tucked. And on the exhale, let's twist towards the right, reaching up, pressing the legs down, and then adding that little hinge at the hips to start to add in that fold. So starting at your own level, maybe start extra easy, allowing yourself some time to settle in. And keep drawing those ears away from the shoulders, finding that nice length. Letting it feel really good. You can bring that left hand across the leg to help keep that rotation at the hips, at the spine, wiggling it through. Always that option, if it's no problem, reaching for the feet, attacking that block along that other side. Or maybe you play around with that little flex of the foot. So I like to play around by just bringing the toes in and coming back towards neutral. Just playing around with what does a flex feel like. I find that little openness through my calf. I've got a pretty tight Achilles tendon, so I notice that through that there as well, and a little bit through the ankle. Just working on bringing those toes a little closer. Holding for those 3 or 4 more rounds of breath here. Taking time to adjust as you get a little bit more openness. And take a nice big inhale. Work on that lengthening. And exhale. See if you can soften any of that excess tension. Notice if you're squeezing anywhere that doesn't necessarily need that support right now. Maybe you soften through that left leg, through that left hip. And taking that final breath here. Bring that right hand to the inside of the leg. Your choice for where. Right hand towards hand. And then rotating. Left hand up. Reaching up. Nice and tall. Finding that nice openness. Your choice to maybe just reach with the elbow. Bring the arm down. Or find that nice extension. Maybe the arm starts to go overhead. Keep spinning the left shoulder open though. Gaze can go up towards the ceiling to help find that openness. And if you want, you can add a nice little pulse in. Just taking a few breaths here, finding that nice openness. Beautiful. One more nice big inhale. Pull the ears away from the shoulder. Exhale. Pull that belly button in towards the core and start to lift yourself back up. Release the hands down. Excellent. Maybe take a couple of shoulder rolls, helping release. Beautiful. Let's bring that left foot, that bent knee, and start to just bring it in. Maybe just work out here. And you can work on just rotating that leg back and forth. Depending on where you're at, it's really hard because I don't get to see anyone, so I don't actually know where best to cue for those people who are watching. But if you want, you can start to tuck that leg down and in, and coming into your variation of your half hero. So even if you're hanging out like this, with the leg off and the knee just falling inward, that is a great option. Foot does not have to be anywhere close to those sits bones, and you can even be leaning over towards the right. So that's totally a great thing. If you want to get a little bit more even into that quad stretch, you can actually roll onto the hip, reach for the foot, and pull it in that way. So totally your option, and then you can work on rolling off of that hip, rolling maybe onto the foot, or that little bit of space. You can start journeying the hands back. Lengthening, so as you go back, you're actually creating that little bit of pull through the hip flexor and through the quad. We'll take about 5 to 7 breaths here. Just feeling that openness. Maybe you come down a little lower. Beautiful. Remembering to connect in with that breath, letting it be a nice release. Beautiful. One more nice breath here, nice big inhale, and an exhale. And then starting to come out nice and safe. I like to just roll onto that right side, kick the leg nice and long, and sit back on the sits bones, add a little bounce to those legs. Let's kind of bring the knees in towards the chest, planting the feet down just so that we can hold on to either the knees or maybe interlace at the fingers. Just get nice and tall at that little resistance, roll those shoulders back and down. And then let's roll on down onto our backs on our mats. And just simply bring the knees with you, hugging the knees in towards the chest. We're laying down and then drawing the knees inward. Beautiful. It might not feel like we did tons of stuff in this class, but maybe even just hugging the knees in, and you could feel that little bit more openness that's created through the hips. That's one thing I just totally noticed. I was like, oh, my knees draw inwards actually really quite easily now. How cool is that? All right, let's plant the feet, hanging out nice and close to our sits bones. Let's just keep opening up through that front body. So take that inhale and lengthen. Exhale, roll those shoulders back and down. Pull the belly button into the core. Nice and strong. Pressing into the feet. Let's start to lift the hips up. Just hanging out at like 30%. Like you might not even be like halfway to what your max would be, or maybe you're just at halfway, like 30 to 50%. Start to notice the knees. Are they starting to splay open? Can you really draw the knees to be in line with those hips? This is another thing that I use a block for. I did this yesterday. Just tucked it in between my knees. And even yesterday I almost dropped the block. So my knees naturally like to fall outwards. So just hanging out. If you want a little more, start to lift those hips up a little higher, but not really for the engagement of the hips. See if you can do it to find that openness through the quads, through those hip flexors, and through the front line of the body. If you want to accentuate that a little more, reach down for the feet. No, your hands do not have to touch your feet. But that pulling down motion rolls the back body farther down and opens up through the front body. Connecting in, take a nice big inhale. And an exhale. Keeping those hips up, but just softening through it. One more nice big inhale. And exhale, let's lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. Just giving yourself that nice little massage along the back as you come slowly all the way down. I'm going to remove my block off to the side. Excellent. Finding your stillness here. Excellent. Let's bring left ankle onto right knee. Just hanging out here. Send that left knee back. Start to find that openness through the hip. Maybe you really feel something. Maybe you don't feel very much. But I love to push the knee back here because it just starts to get into that hip from a different angle. If you always just bring your ankle and then automatically pull that right leg in, you're missing out on so many wonderful areas in that hip. So this is that opportunity to kind of stretch in there. If this feels really good, you're welcome to just stay here. Maybe you're feeling it into your IT band. Who knows exactly how you specifically are feeling it. You're welcome to take that little rock from side to side as well. But if you're ready for that reclined pigeon, then just remember to relax through the leg, drawing that knee ever so slightly back inwards or just to that neutral position. And then starting to float that right leg up. Maybe you just grab on to the knee and the ankle. If you want, you can do this against a wall, just pressing your foot in towards the wall, especially if you can't quite reach on to that leg. You can hold on to the top of the knee. Also a strap, a tie, a belt of any kind is a great prop as well to kind of either lasso you behind the leg. Just really however you want to hang on to draw the legs in towards the body. We'll start to really feel that stretch on the left side of the body. But since we've done so many wonderful hip openers, odds are you need to draw your legs in a little bit more to really get into that sweet spot. And there's so many variations that you can take here. You can take the little rock from side to side, giving that low back a nice little massage. You can extend right leg nice and long, keep working on those hamstrings, but keep pulling the legs in towards the body. Noticing, is your chin pointing up towards the ceiling? Can you bring it so that it's just your nose pointing up? Chin is ever so slightly tucked, and you're still lengthening through the spine and not overarching through the neck. I often say whatever movement or motion feels most intuitive is the one that we should be embracing, which is very true for a lot of poses. But oftentimes we have learned some bad posture, so like the hunching or the rounding of the shoulders or like that chin floating upwards, might feel like a more intuitive motion. But even sometimes that we have to question is like, what is actually best for our bodies? And is taking a few moments of correction in that posture worth that extra bit of energy to help keep and hold that pose? It's really only for a couple of breaths. Trying to counter something we do through probably the entirety of our day. Excellent. Taking a nice big inhale and an exhale. If this is becoming really easy for you, you can work on holding the shin, or even try to reach for the ankle, really drawing those legs in. And then the next step from there is starting to actually just hold on to that left leg, but tucking it in like that cradle the baby. So aligning the foot just above the elbow, wrapping the arms around, and then still trying to get that head to connect back down. Odds are that right foot would then connect in with the ground. If that's still easy, then you work on extending that right leg, getting into all sorts of crazy stretches. Gets a little wild. I'm not even open enough for that yet today. I've done it in the past, but that's okay. Oh, that was a different day. Beautiful. All right, last breath here. Nice big inhale. Nice full exhale. I chatted too long on that side. Oh well. Let's start to plant that right foot back down. Uncross the legs. Take that little windshield wiper, dropping knees to either side. Feeling that nice release through that left hip. Beautiful. Let's find our stillness. I just need to kick my legs long for a moment. I'm just going to take a quick little good morning stretch, embracing some of that openness. Beautiful. Bringing it back in. Now it's right ankle onto left knee. Sending that right knee back. Playing around with some openness here, starting to get into the right side of that hip. You can add a little pulse in here, just pushing the knee back and then relaxing. Or you can just push it back and enjoy the stillness. Or you can take that little rock from side to side. Taking that time to get into those little muscles just from that different angle. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, you can relax through that right leg, bringing it back towards neutral, and then floating left leg up, reaching on for wherever you want to hold on to. Maybe it's right knee and foot. Maybe it's left thigh. Maybe it's top of left knee. Maybe it's left shin. You can take that nice little rock from side to side. You can extend that left foot up in the air, working on that hamstring. Beautiful. Whatever it is, let it feel really good for your body, and just be mindful to not overarch through that neck. Finding all of that wonderful length, finding that openness. See if you can still relax the shoulders, not holding on to too much tension. Beautiful. If you want to try that cradle the baby on this side, this is my super tight side, so let's see. Excellent. Taking your last breath or two here, finding that movement that feels really good, maybe finding that extra bit of depth. Take a nice big inhale and lengthen through the spine. And take that exhale, slowly releasing, planting that left foot back in, uncrossing the legs. Take that little windshield wiper or that good morning stretch, however you'd like to release this pose. Excellent. Let's hug the knees in towards the body. Or maybe you reach on through for the feet. Coming into that closing happy baby. You can reset the spine by pulling into the feet, kicking into the hands, extend the head nice and long and tall. And then relax. Beautiful. Playing around with any other pose or movement you would love to take to finish off your class. So if there's something else your body needs before we settle in to Shavasana, take some time to play around with your little freestyle, embracing a little playfulness, embracing that inner child, letting it be good, remembering you're allowed to have fun, you're allowed to play around. So good. Or if you're just ready for Shavasana, that's also a wonderful option. You definitely don't have to have a freestyle, but I think it's important for you to listen to your body, because that's all I talk about at the beginning of class. And so that freestyle is your opportunity to really listen into your body. So I'm going to roll up to seated so that I can guide you and take you through. Maybe you start to settle into that Shavasana now. Really, I don't have any official rules for it. That traditional corpse pose or Shavasana is with legs extended long, feet kind of flop open. You roll your shoulders back and down, actually palms facing up, and to keep that openness through the collarbone is such a beautiful option. But maybe that's tight on your low back and you'd rather bend your knees and plant your feet. And then sometimes it's really fun just to place hand on collarbone or just below and kind of on the stomach area, and you can connect in with that breath, starting to raise both hands up and feel the fall of the breath come inwards. I used to really hate that because I had a lot of body image issues, and just putting my hands like on my abdomen area was so uncomfortable, and that really kind of showed me that I had areas to work on for my own self-love, my own acceptance. And so maybe you need that little check-in as well. It's okay to want change, but you need to be okay with who you are and how you are every day, because it's beautiful. So starting to embrace that, connecting in with that, and do that nice little body scan, scanning through and connecting in with that breath, just noticing the change maybe from beginning of class to now, and maybe being aware of what changes you want to continue to work on. So this is where I will leave you today. Let's take one big nice inhale together where we exhale out to a sigh. So getting ready, breathing in nice and deep, filling the lungs. Exhale, let it out. And you're more than welcome to keep a couple of those going. Taking 3 feels really good. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me in our Happy Hips class this morning. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day filled with moments of joy, and I pray that you are always blessed. Take your time in your Shavasana, and I thank you. Namaste. Beautiful. Excellent. And tomorrow, Friday, is extra gentle flow, because I didn't quite want to do a yin-yang class, but I didn't also want to throw in another flow class. So it'll be somewhere in between there, maybe a little flowy option to not flow. That's what's going on for tomorrow. Wanted to mention that. Cool. Okay.